capacity for playfulness, what was it like today? And it varies, right, on every single day, but how important that experience of playfulness is in our well-being, but also in how do we help people recover that. And because that is a core piece of wellness. It's just a human capacity, I think, that's naturally restorative. So here you see these three wonderful children here just leaping for joy. So here's the article I'm going to give you that I started to think about. Playfulness is really a moment in therapy or coaching, or if you're in education or any kind of facilitation, where it's unscripted. I mean, I think some of play therapy, of course, people have developed activities and procedures, but I think the real essence of play is all about the unscripted moment. You feel totally comfortable in that moment to do whatever crazy thing you feel like, laugh or just do something, that you never have done before, and just be flexible in that moment. And okay, you remember that circle of capacity that I showed you. This is my next iteration of it. And I included the word playfulness as something we should be helping people expand capacity for through expressive work, because it's not necessarily going to happen through talk. We're not going to be able to talk people into that. They have to feel it. They have to do it. They have to engage in it somehow. But traumatic stress, it robs us of that capacity. It really does. It robs us of the capacity for joy, curiosity, enlivenment. And I think, thinking again about this expansion of that circle, we want to expand the experiences of reparative, or you could call it restorative playfulness, can really help people. And that, I think, is one of the goals kind of in the background. It's not one I write down in charts, but I'm thinking about how can I help people feel that and get to that, because it is something that replaces, remember, all that window of tolerance, that activation that's uncomfortable, or the hypoarousal, which is the numbing out and dissociation, not being part of life. Play lets us be part of life in a way that's, again, this unscripted, just a spontaneous kind of activity and experience in the moment. And when we can feel that and feel comfortable in that, we must feel safe. All of a sudden that sense of fear is not there. Because I always say too, curiosity is the opposite of fear. You can't really have both at the same time. The fear may come back, but if you have these moments of curiosity, you're not in that fear state. So I think playfulness at this level, unscripted, is something that is not a fear-based thing. It's feeling like, I'm confident I can master this. I feel alive in this moment. I feel empowered. So that is what, the article is about. But I just want to give you a couple of things here that are part of that article, because when you put the article on a place like Medium, which is a platform where people can write and post articles, people highlight parts of the article that they feel are significant. So I just thought I'd share the couple that so far it's kind of like an informal research study, what appealed to people in the article, what resonated with them. And this was one of the things, and I talk a lot about in any of the things and writing about expressive arts therapy, that the thing that we do in it that makes it different from the silos of art therapy, drama therapy, dance movement therapy, music therapy, is we move through those in intermodal shift. So, I think this is part of what we're seeing when somebody becomes playful, that a shift happens. So here's one of the quotes that resonated with people apparently. To play is not always easy for those who are in distress due to acute or multiple trauma. It requires a sense of feeling safe, and that is something not easily possible, especially in the early stages of therapeutic work. That's an important thing to think about, and I think that's why people are there in front of us. If they had this ability to feel so comfortable, they would not be coming and asking for some kind of support or assistance, in recovery. they would already feel this. So, when somebody comes in, it can be a long process to get to being able to shift in their bodies and sense these things. So it goes on, but over time, introducing playfulness, whether it's through expressive arts, toys or props, silly games, or humor, there is inevitably a shift that happens. So that's what we're kind of working for, is to start to get those little moments of like shift, laughing together a little bit, being able to engage with each other in a way of comfort and co-regulation, experiencing something joyful in doing, one or more of the expressive arts in a continuum, maybe the movement and the sound, the enactment, or just playing with something in a new way. So these are all things, across the age range, because I think a lot of times I bring up play in talks, people go right away to this must be with children only. No, adults need this. Adults may have missed it, especially if they were traumatized. They're back now for it. This is the piece that, is part of the reparative and restorative work. So again, a couple other lines from it. Transformative experiences of playfulness that were listed in the article. Here's another quote people resonated with. What is needed are experiences not only to help us cope with traumatic stress, but to also begin to replace the uncomfortable sensations of hyperactivation and allow us to feel and sense the world in pleasurable and joyful ways. So this is the thing, back to the window of tolerance. That model helps people expand their ability to not feel so hyperactivated, to not feel dissociated or numb. But we got to replace it with something. For heaven's sakes, just expanding that is not enough. We want people to start now interocepting and exterocepting and feeling themselves in the world in a new way, and in this pleasurable and joyful way, in an enlivened way, in a curious way. So this transformation is felt in the body as empowerment, mastery, and enlivenment when encountering distress or disruptive events. These are just a few of the qualities in play, a natural source of restoration for body, mind, and I always like to say spirit, because there's that intangible piece of just that joy in the body, okay, and thoughts in the mind, but also something transcendent about that moment of transformative experience. And I think what Ellen had to say, or Elin, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly, that was a wonderful thing you said about nature, because I think that's part of where we have to go with some of this, to be out in an environment in nature and greenery, whether it's forest bathing, or there's a study now about children's exposure to like the ocean, water, rivers, lakes, all that, having a very, they call it a blue space, being part of what we can do if we can offer that there's another really important piece that we can interject this playfulness into within an environment that has a capacity to maybe feel more healing than being even in a comfortable space in a room that has a lot of fun things that people can explore with you, but to be in the outdoors and use that as a way of helping people really improve and increase their ability to be playful seems really I thought that was a very important statement you made.